Hello and welcome to this workshop about the new workflow in the Spentys application that enables you to create pediatric AFOs. We're confident that we've built the most intuitive and easy way to create 3D printed AFOs that fit perfectly for your youngest patients. My name is Brian with a Y, and I'm an application specialist at Spentys, and I will be your host today. First, it's so great to see such a big international crowd here. We have folks joining this workshop from all over the world. It's so great to know that so many O&P professionals are taking steps to go digital and utilizing 3D technology in O&P. Today, we are proud to share a new digital workflow for easy digital design of pediatric AFOs. At Spentys, we always keep pushing the limits of innovation to improve the tools that you can use every day. Before we start, let me introduce to you who we are. We support clinicians to implement digital tools to create personalized orthoses efficiently and effectively. You no longer need to be a design engineer to fabricate 3D printed orthoses for your patients. Spentys is focused on a full digital process from scanning to printing, providing you with easy to use tools for every step of the process. And don't worry if that sounds complicated. During this event, we will show you just how easy it is to get started creating perfect fitting AFOs with our scan, model, print solution. And we are trusted by some of the most prestigious O&P clinics and hospitals in the world. And medical devices are created every day for young and old patients, and even some Olympic athletes. From daily practice in the clinics of our partners, we have firsthand experience with the challenges of traditional fabrication of pediatric AFOs. The bulkiness, obtrusive strap, heavy weight, sweating, and overall discomfort for a child. As for the clinician, it could be a very time-consuming process. Through our research, we came to understand that some of the tools used in traditional processes were the limiting factor in reaching higher levels of patient care. That's why we've developed a new way to design pediatric AFOs using 3D technology that would resolve these drawbacks. It's your opportunity to become a pioneer in 3D printing and stand out from your competition by creating custom-made orthoses with the end-to-end Spentys solution. Starting with 3D printing has never been easier or faster. Our scan, model, print platform is simple and enables you to design and produce pediatric AFOs amazingly fast. It doesn't require any CAD or CAM skills or prior experience in 3D printing. In the next few minutes, I'll show you just how accessible this workflow is for anyone wanting to implement 3D technology. But let's talk about the applications first. You could decide whether you want to design a static or articulated device. Both the solid and articulated AFOs can be modified and personalized. Later during this workshop, I'll show you how you can configure the device in just a few clicks. All of this is possible within minutes and without any design skills whatsoever. This is just the start for Spentys. We believe the development should never stop because there is always something that could be improved or added. And we know that certified orthotists all over the world have different requirements and preferences. So that is why we truly believe in listening to our partners and their feedback and optimizing the product to make sure that you could create AFOs that your patient will love. Now let's dive into the creation process. Now I'm going to show you how to transfer your medical expertise into concrete design information, which will be received by Spentys so that we could start modeling your patient's AFO. So the first thing we're going to do is open the Spentys application on your iPad, and what you see is the dashboard. You could see your draft orders, your submitted orders, and all the orders that you have created with the Spentys application right here on this screen. But let's dive into the demonstration. I click Create New, input my patient data, And what I find is really important in this step is for you to add any vital information in the notes section that you would like to see a little bit later on the web platform, or would like to translate to Spentys. Like this could be the specific pathology or the reason why the patient is in your facility today. And then you press next step. Select which orthosis you want to design. And since we're here talking about AFOs today, I'm going to select the right lower limb and then the limb segments that need to be included within this AFO. And because we're designing a static AFO, I select B2. Next step. Now scanning. Scanning is an important step in digitizing your workflow. And because Spentys is an open platform, we allow you to use any scanner in this process.
The AFO process can be performed with a raw scan of your patient's foot or a 3D scan of a corrected mold.
I'll select Demo Scan for this demonstration, just so you could see it in live. This is here. There are some artifacts, so what we're going to do is quickly move to rectify this scan. Scrolling down and pressing next step. We need to clean up this scan, right? We need a clean model to work off of. So we press clean up, select the model, it turns green. Landmarks are important when working with 3D and 3D scanning and 3D design, so the computer will know what's actually in the 3D space. So we've created these graphics here at the bottom of the screen where you will be needing to select or place your landmarks. It's as simple as just tapping the screen on those specific areas of the patient's limb or foot. And moving this plane, you could be able to adjust the actual length of the scan. And this is just a fast rectification of removing artifacts just like that. I really like that about this Spentys application because I've worked with 3D scanning in the past, and it's quite a confusing and time-taking process to remove all of those artifacts. And Spentys has really simplified that approach, and it's evident right here. We're going to continue to place more landmarks on the model, which will be important for the next step. So as you see, I'm just easily moving the model around and placing these landmarks. In this step, you can actually modify the scan. This is a very nice step. Using your different views here, you can be able to easily modify. Let me make sure this all looks good. And then maybe a little bit here. Looks good to me. Moving forward, I want to just double check, and this scan looks great. Clicking on sculpting allows you to highlight specific areas within the scan that you would be needing to apply maybe some foam later on when actually the device is printed, and you need some offset that is actually created for maybe this specific area right here. There's a lot of pressure and you want to have some offset there. So you could be able to add your padding or your foam. Same for this specific area. You can draw that on, which is very nice in my opinion. And then moving to the fall off, what's really interesting here, I choose the more round feature. It gives it a better look, and then I can adjust the offset really simply there. Validating my offset, I simply tap the specific area, and on the left you could see the different values of the offset. I would say that looks good, yeah? Let's move on. Now we're going to export this scan. It's completely rectified and it is ready to move to design. And seeing this rectified scan here, it's a lot more clean than when we originally pulled it in. And if you're using your own 3D scanner, you can rectify within your own software, or you can upload a unmodified scan and do that directly here through the Spentys application. Next step, choosing between a Spentys Designer or Freeforma. For this presentation, I'm going to choose the Spentys Designer to show you how quickly this workflow can be achieved and how simple it is to submit data to be designed and then ready for 3D printing. So clicking Spentys Designer and then moving to a review model, that gives me, the clinician, the ability to make sure that everything is good to go before actually moving to printing. Now, thickness, being able to adjust thickness like the global thickness or the calf front, you have that ability to do that here within specific areas of the model, which is really nice. We need you to actually add your input to this workflow. You as the clinician are the professional, truly. So adjust here as you think necessary and as you know necessary, and that will actually be what is created when we have the devices with your input. It's important. And then selecting which insole you would like to go with, whether it be flat or follow the arch of the patient. And for this instance, we will follow the arch. Closing system. We're going to print either with belt loops or without, and that is just at your preference. Get into 3D printing a little bit and you'll develop a preference, and we would like to work with you through that process. So if you're traditionally adding straps, you would add belt loops and either integrate it, or if you're not adding straps and you have a different way, maybe rivets, select none. So it's quite interesting here. You can select belt loops and Velcros and how many you would like. Customization. We know when working with patients, having a device that is custom to them, having their input in the process actually increases the overall treatment for the patient. And that is what we're all after, is just bettering the outcomes for the patient. So maybe sitting with the patient and going through the different colors that are available and or the drawings here that could be added could just give them an even better experience when wearing their AFO. So we're going to select black, and we're going to add this little T-Rex.
All right, and we've arrived at the sketch part where we're going to place more landmarks onto the model, and which in a moment you'll see by placing these landmarks in specific areas onto the model, the computer will automatically generate trim lines. Now, this saves you a lot of time in having to sculpt trim lines onto the model. And I press next, and there they are. The trim lines are automatically generated, and we need your input yet again to manipulate the nodes to follow the actual shape of the device that you want 3D printed. Clicking on a node and moving it is rather simple. All right, great. Now I want to remind you, I'm in the AFO workflow now, but Spentys actually does a lot more. If you've seen our catalog, you've seen where we help for patients that have spasticity, and by creating devices that allow immobilization during fractures of the wrist. So upper extremity is where Spentys had gotten started. And now that we're here on AFOs, we're proud to be in lower extremity, but I do urge you, check out the Spentys catalog. and see some of the products that aren't mentioned here that you believe could be beneficial for your patients. The workflow is similar. In some ways, you can design yourself there in your facility. In others, you may prefer to use the Spentys designer, like what we're doing here for the AFO. Giving you the freedom to choose is really what Spentys is here for. We want to walk you through the scanning, the design process, and also the printing process. Back to the AFO. Looking now that I've manipulated these nodes to follow the trim lines that I see fit, adding some final adjustments. I think that looks good. Yeah, I may need to just a little bit more. Great. And now we move to exporting the model.
Now you have the choice to choose between a Spentys printing ourselves or there in your 3D lab. And for this example, we're going to actually choose that Spentys prints in multi-jet fusion here in the PA11 material. Next step. So typically when you have your account already set up, your shipping and invoice address will auto-populate. But for this example, I'm going to just put the shipping and invoice address of a random place in the world. It'd be very nice to be in Honolulu, Hawaii right now. That's where this device is going to be sent. Great. Again, you saw how easy that was. In just a few moments, and just a few clicks of my stylus on the screen, we were able to rectify a scan, adjust thicknesses, draw our trim lines, and then move on. And we press submit order. This order is then submitted, and you have completely taken advantage of 3D designing, 3D scanning, and 3D printing. Here you could see that the order has been submitted, but you can also refer to the web platform to be able to see anything and everything associated with the order. Eventually, when the Spentys designer is complete with the design process, he'll send you an email, and you'll click on that email, and you could be able to see the finished product right there on the web platform. Have a moment to review that and offer any feedback that you think is necessary, and we'll revise on the fly. Thank you so much for joining us today. In just 15 minutes, we went through scanning to being ready to print. If you would like to learn a little bit more about the Spentys application, make sure you're visiting us on Spentys.com, where we have tons of different resources in form of video or studies that we've done. And if you'd like to connect with a Spentys representative, we're here at the conference, as well as easily accessible through Spentys.com, where you can book a meeting with one of us. Again, thank you. It was Brian with a Y, and it's been my pleasure to introduce the new AFO workflow through Spentys. I hope you have a great day.